gun and he shot several times into the CEO. He went forward, walked towards him, apparently to, basically make sure that the man was dead, and then begins to flee across the street where he got onto a city bike and went uptown. To this day, now some 24 hours later, he is not currently in police custody, although we have some of the details. The NYPD itself broke down some of the details of the crime. Let's get to it.
The suspect approached from behind and fired several rounds, striking the victim at least once in the back and at least once in the right calf. Many people passed the suspect, but he appeared to wait for his intended target. The suspect fled, first on foot, then on an e-bike, and was last seen in Central Park on Center Drive early this morning. The victim was removed to Roosevelt Hospital, where he was pronounced. We've been in touch with his family, his friends, and his colleagues, and they are very much in our thoughts and prayers at this hour. The full investigative efforts of the New York City Police Department are well underway, and we will not rest until we identify and apprehend the shooter in this case. The women and men of the NYPD take enormous pride in the work that they do each day and each night to drive down crime and violence in our city. Right now, we are asking the public for your help. If you have any information about this case, call Crime Stoppers at 800-577-TIPS. We have increased the reward in this case to $10,000. I want to be clear. At this time, every indication is that this was a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack.
That is really what all the details begin to describe. We've seen ballistic experts and other people who have come out just to look at all of the circumstances, and they are genuinely shocking. I mean, this is one of the busiest areas in all of Midtown Manhattan, 6:45 a.m., full-on like pre-work traffic, and all of that. It appears that he had either a suppressor or some sort of pistol, which was using subsonic ammunition to try and to keep the sound as quiet as possible. From ballistics experts and others that I have read, they just show a couple of things that you can see in the details of the crime. Number one, the photo that's been released of the man so far shows him wearing a face mask and a hood pulled up all over. It appears he had a change of clothes in the backpack, was able to immediately flee, get onto a bike, apparently was waiting outside of the hotel some full 5 minutes before he emerged. This United Healthcare CEO knew he was staying there. He'd cased it out. It was clearly a very planned assassination, and that's what a lot of the details around this, and professionals as well. So just before we get your reaction, this is the Felipe Rodriguez, former NYPD detective, just talking about this thing. It's one of the most detailed assassinations that he's ever seen. Let's take a listen.
Is it possible that police may have to close the bridges, or how are they surveilling those areas?
At this point, you know what's going to end up, the CCTV footage, but I'm telling you, the way he planned this out, I can see him having a change of clothes, everything hidden somewhere in Central Park, because he's aware of the cameras. That's why, you know what, he did have that mask on. That's why he's trying to, hide his identity, trying to make sure that we don't have any facial recognition in place. So once again, this is one of the most detailed assassinations I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly shocking. Literally take place downtown in the middle of New York City. It appears the wife says that Mr. Thompson had been receiving threats. Can we put that tear sheet, please, up on the screen over, quote, insurance woes? In the details that she said something about denied coverage in terms of threats that he had been receiving. And we also have some stuff that broke just very late last night. NYPD detectives have discovered the words, quote, deny, defend, and depose, which were written on shell casings that were found at the scene. Deny, defend, and depose is the title of a book, which is specifically about how insurance companies deny coverage to patients. So it does appear to be an act of retribution, or appears to be some sort of act of retribution against the United Healthcare CEO. The book itself, here, I can pull up the cover in front of me. Yeah, it's delay, deny, defend, why insurance companies don't pay claims and what you can do about it. Apparently, it's a well-known kind of moniker and a playbook that people have always talked about, these insurance companies. So it does appear to be an act of revenge, Crystal, and obviously that alludes also to kind of the reaction around this, which has certainly run the gamut, I guess we could say that.
I don't think it has run the gamut. I think by and large, listen, let's all be adults here.
Yeah.
Nobody here condones murder in broad daylight, targeted assassinations, etc.
It's insane. Yeah.
Yes, of course. But we also have at this show made it clear when a powerful person who did great evil in the world, we don't mince words when that person dies, is killed, etc. And this is a person who caused great harm, death, bankruptcy, debt, and injury to probably millions of Americans. And so, you know, there was a lot of like, oh, the left is like celebrating this viciously. Let me tell you, it wasn't just the left. We're going to show you later on, if you go on Facebook, not exactly like the bastion of the socialist revolution, and you look at the reaction there, if you look at the reactions on TikTok, I mean, it was across the board. And so I think people should think like political class, executive class, billionaire class need to think really deeply about how people feel about this disgusting, evil system that this person was a part of. So we can put, you know, up on the screen, you know, you're talking about the motive. Obviously, yesterday it was all speculation because obviously there would be many people who would have a motive to do harm to this individual. And quite frankly, you know, again, and this is us being adults here, not condoning, but it's shocking that something like this hasn't happened before, given the amount of pain, death, and suffering that this industry overall causes. And this was a very, you know, powerful person in terms of that industry. You know, we can put a 5 up on the screen in terms of claim denial rates. United Healthcare was apparently the worst. 32% of claims denied by this company. We also know that, you know, they are being sued right now because they've been using this AI that reportedly, according to the lawsuit, has some 90% error rate to reject people's claims. And, you know, I mean, you're hard pressed to find an American family that hasn't been negatively impacted by this disgusting, horrible system. So, you know, if people are shocked by the reaction that has sort of flowed down of the entire nation in response to this killing, I don't think that you should be shocked because most people have some sort of story. I mean, in my own family, like Kyle's dad very possibly would still be alive and have been at our wedding if it wasn't for our fucked up health insurance system. So, you know, there's a lot of anger and horror at what this looks like in this country.
Yeah, the deny, defend, depose gets to some patience in terms of denial of coverage in the way that the insurance companies are able to work that system. Yeah, I mean, as you just said, let's all be real and adults. Like murdering people in vigilante, or not even vigilante, like murdering people in cold blood in the middle of New York City is bad, unironically. What we have seen, though, is honest. I'm even surprised by it, and I've seen a lot of social analysts and others who have reacted to the killing itself in terms of the outcry from a lot of the public, where there is some deep-seated rage here. And, you know, we can talk about that just analytically in terms of, look, we just had an election, right? Donald Trump won the White House. People are very
a lot of
angry
rage there, too.
with the system. Yeah, and I was actually thinking back to it. Alex Berenson made the analysis. He's like, I don't think anything like this has happened in the post-World War II era. I think he's right in terms of a major targeted assassination of a CEO. But this really harkens back to some of the violence and anarchist violence in the period of like 1900
like the
to
Gilded Age.
1937. Yeah, it's like post-Gilded, more like the latter age of the Gilded Age. A lot of the violence around labor and the relationship between the major company and the citizen, but also just like literal anarchists and others' theory of like we have to strike back through genuine violence against people who are like this. You know, we saw some of that actually, like you said, on the comments reacting to this. We can go ahead and put
A10, guys,
please, on the screen. And this was put out, and for example, some of the top comments, people are like, I'm sorry, prior authorization is required for thoughts and prayers. Sending prior authorization denied claims, collections, and prayers to the family. Was his trip to the ER really emergent? And it's crazy what my first thought was, and then I look at the comments and realize that I am not alone in my thoughts. So clearly there's a lot of people who are out there who are very, very upset with the healthcare system. You know, even bringing it back to just the crime, I saw some analysis where they're like, this is an insane crime because there are 20 million people who could be potential suspects.
That's right.